GM announcing just moments ago it's upping its EV investment by some $8 billion to $35 billion.
For decades, GM stood for trust, pride, and American power. But that legacy just shattered.
The chip situation continues to be very complex and very volatile, but I'm confident our team is going to enable every single vehicle possible to be built.
An American titan, a company that built the spine of this country, is silently committing a billion-dollar betrayal right under our noses. This isn't about inflation or supply chains or fair market adjustment. This is about corporate executives treating their most loyal customers like personal ATMs, using hidden fees to fund their own calculated escape, while everyone else is left holding the bag. The money trail starts with a single line item you probably glance right over on a new car sticker, a fee that is completely non-negotiable, non-transparent, and just got hiked to its most obscene level yet. We are talking about General Motors, a company that pulled an unprecedented financial stunt that netted them $1.2 billion in pure hidden profit. And what the CEO did with her own stock immediately afterward should terrify anyone considering buying one of their vehicles. The whole thing begins in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Imagine buying a brand new Chevrolet Silverado, a truck that literally rolled off the assembly line just a 19-minute drive down the road. You could get there faster than waiting for a pizza delivery. Yet, when you sign the papers, you're charged a destination fee of $2,595. Here's the punchline. That is the exact same fee a customer in Seattle, Miami, or Los Angeles pays. $2,595 to move a multi-ton truck 19 minutes. But wait, it gets much, much uglier. That fee just jumped by $600 in a single year. Was it because fuel costs exploded? No. Diesel is actually cheaper than last year. Did truck drivers suddenly get a massive raise? Nope. Rail costs haven't exploded either. Nothing related to the actual physical cost of transportation changed. General Motors simply decided your truck costs $600 more to deliver, and they bet you wouldn't question it. Do the quick math. With nearly 900,000 units of the Silverado and Sierra sold last year, that $600 increase alone generates $540 million in pure profit, hidden behind a line item called destination and handling. Now factor in the rest of their lineup, the Corvette, the Escalade, the Enclave. Every single one saw increases, averaging at least $400 across their 2.7 million vehicle sales annually. Total annual haul for GM, disguised as a logistics cost, over $1.2 billion. This isn't cost recovery. This is a profit extraction center, a slush fund created by deceit. But that's just the opening act, because once you realize the cost is fake, you have to ask where that billion-dollar windfall is really going. The sheer audacity of the price hike becomes insulting when you compare it to global logistics reality. Think about a Porsche Cayman, built in Germany, put on a freighter, sailed across the Atlantic Ocean, loaded onto trains, driven across the American continent, and delivered to a dealership. Its destination charge is a flat $1,995. A Mini Cooper, manufactured overseas, sailed across entire oceans, arrives at U.S. dealerships for under $1,000. But the Chevy Silverado, built in America, driven a couple of blocks down the street, $2,595. It makes zero logical sense, and that's the point. This hike hit precisely when tariffs on imported steel and components started biting, and executives needed a way to cover those costs without causing the public backlash of raising the MSRP, the vehicle's base price. They created a perfect corporate shell game. When you can't openly raise prices, you bury the increase in fees, disguising it as an operating cost rather than the pure profit grab it is. This quiet move allowed them to maintain a narrative of stable MSRP while extracting every last cent from your wallet. They needed that cash injection, and what followed immediately after should make every single customer pause and demand answers. On September 8th, Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors, one of the most powerful executives in corporate America, executed a transaction that signaled an incredible, devastating lack of faith in her own company's future. She sold a massive 40% of her personal stake, not a casual portfolio rebalancing, but a calculated, deliberate offloading of nearly half her holdings. Tens of millions of dollars of GM equity immediately converted into cold, hard cash. This is a woman who has spent her entire career at the company, who rose through the ranks to the top executive role. When an insider at that level, who doesn't need the money for rent given her publicly disclosed $28 million annual compensation, makes such a monumental divestment, it's not a suggestion. It's a statement. She knows whether those billion-dollar destination fee hikes are sustainable or if they will finally push customers toward Toyota and Honda, shattering future sales. And whatever she knew made her convert her equity to cash before the market fully processes the damage. But Barra wasn't an isolated case, and that's the most damning evidence. A deeper look at the insider activity pattern at GM exposes a quiet but accelerating panic. Over the last 12 months, company insiders executed 22 sales of GM stock, compared to only 6 buys. In the 3 months immediately surrounding Barra's major sell-off, there were 0 executive purchases. None. Over 1 million shares unloaded by the very people running the company. If the company was genuinely healthy, if their long-term prospects were as strong as their public statements suggested, wouldn't at least one executive be loading up their shares, confident the price would climb? Instead, they were all heading for the exits, racing to cash in their equity, while the stock was artificially buoyed by the billion-dollar profit injection from the destination fee scam. They were using your money, the customer subsidy, to increase the profitability they needed to execute their strategic escape plan. This lopsided activity, 0 buys and multiple sales, is a flashing red warning sign that cannot be ignored. And who is left to absorb the impact of this corporate greed? First, the dealers. They are just a pass-through, but they feel the pain acutely. They have to pay that inflated $2,595 destination charge to GM upfront and then struggle to sell the truck to a customer who sees a lower fee on a Toyota across the street. The dealer is stuck. They have to eat into their already thin margins, offering incentives just to move the inventory because they have millions in floor plan financing costs eating profitability monthly. GM already collected their billion-dollar profit when the truck hit the dealer lot, regardless of whether it sells. The dealer is being squeezed from both sides. Then there are the factory workers, the people building these trucks in Fort Wayne, Flint, and Spring Hill. They know the sales volume will drop due to these absurd prices, and they are watching their executives get rich while worrying about imminent layoffs and production cuts. Their own retirement funds, often tied up in GM stock through 401k matching, are left vulnerable as the company's leadership cashes out. This is the brutal human cost of the $1.2 billion profit grab that never makes the financial headlines. While GM was busy gutting their customers and squeezing their dealers, their competitors achieved a silent, devastating victory. Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai are winning not with revolutionary tech or aggressive advertising, but simply by being marginally more honest about their pricing. Their destination charges remain reasonable. Brand loyalty is a powerful thing, but it shatters instantly when a customer realizes they are being charged significantly more to move a domestic truck a few miles than a luxury car across the Atlantic Ocean. Consumers are waking up, asking questions, comparing fees, and walking away. This slow abandonment is how empires fall, not through catastrophic failure, but through self-inflicted financial wounds. The executives saw this coming. They knew the destination charge scheme would accelerate customer defection, eroding long-term trust, and they decided to cash out before the full collapse hit. The ultimate choice now rests with the consumer. The $1,000 payment shock, the destination fee hike combined with other base price increases, doesn't just cost you $1,000. Financed over 72 months, that's an extra $20 per month, costing you $1,300 to $1,500 over the life of the loan. For what? For a completely fictional charge that funded your CEO's private multi-million-dollar escape plan. General Motors is betting on you not paying attention, betting on you simply accepting the fee. You have the power to prove them wrong. If sales drop, inventory ages, and dealers push back, then maybe, just maybe, someone in Detroit will realize that long-term customer trust matters more than short-term billion-dollar profit extraction. The question is, knowing that the company's own leadership is running for the door after hiding $1 billion in fees, would you still buy that truck? Or is the trust in an American icon finally irrevocably broken?